Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I talk about fashion and fragrance on this channel. I actually talk about how the importance of both, looking good and smelling good. That's what we get into. So if you're into fashion and fragrance, I hope you won't mind hitting the subscribe button. And make sure you go over to that little bell icon and tap that as well. And then go to the word all and click on that as well. Because if you don't hit the bell icon, then you won't get notified that content has been uploaded. And you might not find out about the content till about 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line somewhere. So if you want to increase your chances that you'll at least see the content, make sure you do those things and subscribe to the channel. So on today's video, guys, I'm going to be jumping into 5 fragrances that are inexpensive or cheaper, but they have an expensive counterpart. But to me, these inexpensive fragrances are just as good as the expensive or the more expensive fragrance. I've always said on this channel that it does not cost a lot of money and it does not have to cost a lot of money to smell good. And this is certainly proven when you see the fragrances on this list, because again, some of these fragrances we're talking about up to $1,000 difference in the cost, the retail cost of these fragrances. So again, this is something that I think a lot of you guys will be find interest in, because I know a lot of guys don't really like to spend a whole lot of money on fragrances, and that's fine. So if you don't, then this is going to be the list for you. So if you want to see what's on my list of 5 inexpensive fragrances that are just as good as their expensive counterparts, then you guys know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the video today. I'm going to start off with the biggest bang for your buck fragrance first on this list. And the more expensive fragrance is one that I've talked a lot about here over the past 2 months or so since I've had this in the collection. Oh my gosh, I love this fragrance, sincerely. I love this fragrance so much. And it's from the house of Bottega Victorious, and it's Valiant. Look at that beautiful bottle, man. Beautiful bottle, and the fragrance again is just as good as the bottle. This presentation is just stupid, man. Like, if I probably had to pick one fragrance to represent my collection as far as the presentation, this might be it. But anyway, I've talked about this fragrance, and I actually did a standalone review of this fragrance, and I told you guys that this fragrance retails for about $1,275. Now, I received a fragrance here recently in my collection that is almost a dead ringer to this fragrance. Now, when you think about the cost of the next fragrance that I'm going to talk about, that this smells very similar to, just as a standalone, you might not say, well, it's not an inexpensive fragrance as well, but comparatively speaking to this, is very inexpensive. And the fragrance I'm talking about is a fragrance from the house of Electimus, and I think it's Vixir. And this is the fragrance. Again, I will tell you, the house of Electimus, there are no slouches on presentation as well. This is a beautiful bottle. These bottles are very heavy. I don't know if you've ever held a fragrance in your hand from this house, but I know people have said this before, but seriously, you can hurt somebody with this bottle. I mean, this is super heavy and sturdy. So I love the presentation, and I'm going to tell you, this is probably about 95% similar to Valiant. Now, this one retails for $275. So again, I know just if you're comparing it, not comparing it, just talking about it from a price standpoint by itself, that's still not inexpensive. But when you compare it to Valiant and the $1,275 price point on this one, then obviously this is a lot less expensive, because again, you're saving $1,000 at retail costs. Now, there's a slight difference here because this one has gardenia in here. And that gardenia gives this a little bit of this sharp, almost earthy green tinge to this fragrance that's not present here. But outside of that, they're pretty much almost the same to my nose. You're getting this really nice florals, white florals, almost soapy, clean vibe. You get both of these. You get a fruitiness. This one is more orange, mandarin orange, oranges. This was a little bit more of a bergamot kind of citrus on the top, but still very similar. And when they both dry down, you get the nice creaminess. There's sandalwood in both of these, and both of them you get the sweetness when you dry down. It dries down as well with tonka bean, vanilla as well. So very, very, very similar fragrances. Again, this one goes for $12.75 full retail. And this one you're only looking at $2.75. So again, if you're looking for, wanted to get your nose on this, I will tell you right now, again, this is about 95% similar. So check this one out. This is from the house of Electimus, and this one is called Vixir. Now I do want to say as well, guys, the Vixir was sent to me by perfumeonline.ca, which is another discounted retailer that you guys can go to and check out. If you want to get some discounts on some fragrances from perfumeonline.ca, I will make sure I link that down below where you can check it out. Make sure you use my link and go over there and check it out, man. See what's on the page that you may like. But again, that's where I got this from at a discounted price. I think on their site, this is probably around $220, and the retail is about $275. So you will save some money by shopping with perfumeonline.ca. So make sure you check it out down in the description. Now, the next fragrances that I want to talk about and compare, the more expensive fragrance is one that you guys have probably heard a lot about from the house of Tom Ford, their private collection. This is Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille, and I actually just wore this fragrance the other day. So good sometimes to go back to these fragrances that you've had in your collection for a longer period of time and wear them and experience them. This fragrance is so good. Now, this is a 100 ml bottle. You guys know that follow me, I love my Tom Ford private blends to be in the larger 100 ml size bottle. But I have a fragrance that is very similar to this and is less expensive. It's from the house of Frank Baclet, I think, or Baclet. I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce that, but the fragrance is called Tobacco. It's called Tobacco. And this is an amazing fragrance for what you're going to pay for it. Now, I'm comparing 100 ml prices to 100 ml prices because this is 100 ml. And I know you can get the Tom Ford in a 50 ml, but I'm just talking about apples to apples as far as the size of the bottle and the size of the fragrance. So 100 ml, even looking at discounters, this is still going out on average for around $350 for a 100 ml bottle. And this one you can find for about 110, 120. Depends on where you look. So you're gonna save yourself over $200. And this is really, really similar to Tobacco Vanille. Now, there is a difference. I would say I would give them about that 85-90% similarity. This has plum in it. Plum and a little bit of a honey kind of accord in there. And I'm telling you, man, this one is really good. I'm not saying it's better than Tobacco Vanille, but it's really, really close. And I do like the addition of the plum and the honey accord in tobacco. So check this one out, guys. Again, it's from the house of Frank Baclet or Baclet. This one is called Tobacco. All right, guys, the next two fragrances that I want to talk about, the more expensive fragrance comes from the house of Parfums de Marly, and it's this masterpiece right here. This is called Herod. And pretty much Herod from Parfums de Marly is a tobacco fragrance with some Isoe Super, cinnamon, and spices. You know, very, very well-known fragrance, very well loved and well received fragrance in the community. Parfums de Marly, the Herod retails for about a $300 price point. On discounters, you're probably looking at over $200 still. Most places that you look, and I have a really close fragrance to Herod that I think that you guys, if you have not had a chance to smell Herod, you can probably get your hands on this because it's a lot less expensive, from the house of Bulgarian. This is called Man in Black, which to me is a fragrance in the community as well that has gotten its own share of accolades and praise because it's a really good fragrance. It's really, really good, but it's going to give you that same kind of vibe, man. You got the spices in here, the tobacco, the cinnamon, the benzoin. This has a little bit of a booziness to it as well from aroma accord. But again, they're very, very similar. Very similar, I would say, again, about in that 80-85% range. But here you're going to save yourself probably about $100-150 by going this route and checking out the Man in Black. So If this is one that you've always wanted to smell and you just kind of felt like it's a little bit out of your price range, don't want to drop that 200, 250 bucks on Harrod, then check out this one from the House of Bulgari. Again, this one is called Man in Black. All right, guys, now the next two fragrances that I want to talk about on this list today, the first more expensive fragrance comes from the House of Fragrance Du Bois, and this is called Oud Noir Intense. Oud Noir Intense, phenomenal fragrance. Now, I want to say first and foremost that both these fragrances kind of copy off of the Tom Ford Oud Wood DNA. But for the sake of this video, this is the more expensive out of all three of the fragrances that I would compare and kind of put in that same category. Oud Noir Intense retails for about $695. Now, the counterpart, and you guys have probably heard of this fragrance from the House of Versace. This is Versace Oud Noir. Very similar name, right? Versace Oud Noir. Now, the full retail on this one, I thought this might have been discontinued for some reason, but I did see it on Macy's website for 155 bucks, if I'm not mistaken. So again, at full retail, you're saving over $500, and they both are very similar. This is another one. These two, when you compare them, that's about at that 95% similarity. Cardamom, a little bit spicy, black pepper kind of spiciness to both of these fragrances. Some saffron that gives that kind of leathery feel, and oud. So you're gonna find that in both of these fragrances. And again, this is probably, I don't know, maybe out of this and the Valiant comparison, these two are the closest. I would say these are the closest. These are very, very similar. So if you want to save yourself some coin, even if you're looking at, you know, this and or Oud Wood as well, and kind of comparing that to this one, either way it goes, you're going to save money by going this route, because at discounters you still can find this for about $80. So, you know, there you have it. Amazing fragrance from the House of Versace. This one is called Oud Noir. All right, guys, and last but not least, man, the fragrance that the more expensive fragrance, this one comes from the House of Perfume Aroma, and this is called Ombre Aria. Ombre Aria. Man, I wore this fragrance last weekend. Let me tell you, it's an experience, man. It lasts all day long on my skin, literally. It lasts all day long. I'm gonna tell you this, I don't think this or any fragrances that amber forward is gonna be like a fragrance that the masses are going to really love and appreciate, especially not this one, because not only does it have a very prominent amber accord in it, it also has incense and myrrh, so it gets very resinous and syrupy in the incense, and sometimes, like in that first 10 minutes or so, at some point it gets kind of off-putting. I think it would be off-putting to some other people, but not to me. But anyway, amazing amber fragrance. Now, one of the things about fragrances from Perfume Aroma, it's hard to find these fragrances discounted. So you're not really going to find it in places where you're going to be able to save money. So that's why I wanted to include this one on the list. But I think a great alternative to this fragrance is one from the House of Serge Tens, and this one is called Ombre Sultan. Ombre Sultan, and you can find this in most places, most discounted between that $80 to $100 price point. And I think the Ombre Aria from Perfume Aroma goes for about $285. So again, saving yourself about, you know, in most instances around 180 bucks or so by going this route. But this is another dynamite amber fragrance that you're going to be able to save some money on. As a matter of fact, you know, the discontinued Tom Ford fragrance, I don't know why it's skipping my mind right now as much as I love it. Amber Absolute, that's the name of it. This is another great alternative to that. And of course, we know Amber Absolute is discontinued. So, you know, if you wanted to experience Amber Absolute or get something that's similar to it, or of course the Ombre Aria from Perfume Aroma, check this one out from the House of Serge Tens. Again, this is called Ombre Sultan. But that's it, guys. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this list today. I gave you guys 5 inexpensive fragrances that are just as good as their expensive counterparts. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. I know you guys don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.